Yeah, no, Barry. I mean, I get where you're coming from. I totally get it. I'm just saying that Water 7 and Enies Lobby are different story arcs. No, they are, Barry, because they're different islands. You see, they're in Water 7, then they're going to Enies Lobby. It's the same saga. It's one big saga, but they're different story arcs. Okay, whatever. We'll pick this up later tonight. Hey everybody, how you doing? Teching and Barry here with One Piece Chapter 988 review titled Sorry for the Wait. And I'm not really sure if that's just like the title of the chapter because that refers to something in the chapter, or if that's Oda just being like, yeah, sorry for the wait, guys. You know, 2020 is not really kind to anybody, but yeah, sorry for this, right? So yeah, and we're in the middle of like the 2-week drought from the last chapter before this, and well, actually last week it was just Shonen Jump being on break, so that was the cause of the last 2-week break, but this is also coming up another 2-week break. So yeah, I know, right? I know. I'm really hoping we can get to chapter 1000 by the end of this year. I calculated it out, and we've already had a few breaks since I calculated it, but it was like early November, like if it stayed on the track, but we're already off the track. So I'm hoping we could get to chapter 1000 before we enter the winter breaks. I mean, even if we don't, it's not a big deal. Actually, starting 2021 with chapter 1000, that would be good, right? Like we end this year chapter 999 and be like, all right, cool. Just 2020's over with, get to 2021, chapter 1000, dive right in, Kaizoku Oni, Orowa Luffy, right? So yeah, I'm hoping we get to that point, but let's dive right into this. Okay, so we have the cover page this week, and Pound isn't giving up. Pound, last time, he was like, you know, Lola, Chiffon, I'm your dad, hey, where are you going? And they just jumped on the ship, and they bailed freaking out of Dressrosa. The Marines are hot on their heels. Pound is from the freaking shore. He's like, wait, don't leave! I mean, hey, if there's one thing you could say about Pound, he is persistent. When Big Mom kicked him out of Totland, did he stay kicked out? No. He went out into the middle of the seducing woods, buried himself up to the neck like a vegetable, like a man, right? When Oven stabbed him from behind with his, like, giant naginata. This is obviously Whitebeard's naginata, you know, Oven's wasn't as cool as this, but, you know, when he got stabbed by Oven and superheated, wound or whatever, which now that I'm thinking about it, maybe Oven, when he superheated the weapon, maybe that cauterized the wound. Maybe that's how Pound survived. Whatever, just go with it, right? I'll take anything I can get for that explanation. But no, he survived that. He made it to Dressrosa. He was nursed back to health by the Tontatas. He's not giving up. So he just dives into the water and just starts, paddling towards the fire tank crew. All the while the Marines are just bombarding them from the shore. I don't think the Marines are trying to hit Pound. They're trying to aim for the ship, obviously, for Beiji's crew, because he's a member of the Worst Generation. And Lola, Chiffon, and Pez are all watching aboard the ship like, ooh! So, in a perfect world now, this act of selflessness, coming after them in the midst of just this destruction of the Marines and everything, Lola and Chiffon should maybe think to themselves, hey, wait a second, this guy seems pretty damn dedicated that he gets to see us and gets to talk to us. Maybe there's a little bit of credulity of what he was saying. Maybe he is our dad. I mean, he doesn't look really anything like us. There's not really a huge family resemblance. I mean, they both have pink hair, but, beyond that, maybe he's telling the truth here. I'm like, all right, well, let's hear him out. That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario is Beiji looks at this guy paddling toward his ship like, Chiffon, let me be your daddy! And freaking Beiji, a mob boss, walks out. He's like, what'd you say to my wife? Big father! I'm the only daddy she'll ever need. Boom, 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 boom! Just unload on top of freaking Pound as he's wait, no, let me rephrase that! That would be the worst case scenario. We got another chance, though. The first chance when they arrived at the shore, Oda kind of played off as a joke, like, all right, crazy old man, we're out of here. Here's the other opportunity, though, so we'll see what happens from here on out. I mean, this has to be ending soon. This is already volume 32 of this cover page. It's getting up there, okay? So we'll see where this goes. All right, so we cut back to the dome of Muffin Mountain. At the very top of the dome, if you were really excited to see Inuarashi and Nekomamushi's Sulong this week, well, well, we don't get to see them, unfortunately. We do get to see the Sulongs of the Three Musketeers, Shishalian, Consolat, and Giovanni, as well as some of the Forest Guardians like Rhodey and Bibi. We get to see their Sulongs, which is cool, but we don't get to see Inuarashi and Nekomamushi, which is a little bit, you know, it just seemed like the setup last chapter was leading into that, right? The very end of the last chapter was they burst out on the dome of Onigashima, and the moon is shining above, and the flower petals of the snow are falling. And Nekomamushi was like, oh, look, it's a full moon. Yarnyao! And it ends the chapter out with the creepy silhouette. So I guess how this goes is, oh, look, Kaido, it's a full moon out tonight. Yarnyao! Yeah, anyway, yeah, we're gonna kick your butt. Anyway, yeah, I mean, we're not going Sulong right now, but we're gonna kick your butt. That, you know what, honestly, that's probably a good move, because, you know, Sulong takes a lot out of you. I mean, even if you're a master of it, like Inu and Neko surely are, and all the Guardians and the Musketeers certainly are masters of Sulong, probably going into it right away is probably not the best idea. You'd think that, like, okay, let's try fighting Kaido in our base forms first, because we have the other scabbards to help us. It's not like it's just Inu and Neko going up against Kaido alone, right? It's like, we have the scabbards to help us. Let's see how we can do this, and then when the fight gets to kind of the point where it's like the tipping point, where we're kind of like even, boom, that's when we go Sulong and just rip him to shreds as the tide begins to turn. That seems like a better idea here, okay? But we're not exactly fully done yet, even with just Kaido versus the scabbards, and all the Minks are there, so it's things like, oh, the Minks are just gonna, you know, gang up on Kaido and just, you know, knock him into oblivion, because Jack just bursts out of the freaking attic door. I guess there was a door up there on the dome of the mountain. Maybe Kaido and Orochi used to go out there and drink booze, you know, on their days off or whatever. But anyway, yeah. So Jack just bursts out of the door. He's like, "Wait, Master Kaido!" Boom! And he steps through, and all the freaking members of the Gifters are there. You know, artificial devil fruit users. One of the numbers steps out. We don't know who this guy is yet. We'll find out later in this chapter. We'll get a name for this guy, but he's number 7, and he resembles kind of like an ogre, Oni kind of character, and so he steps out from behind Jack. He's even larger than Jack, obviously, because then, you know, the numbers are huge. So I could just imagine, like, Jack, you know, being on the balcony, and then Kaido falls down, and he turns into a dragon, and he bursts through the ceiling, and he's like, oh Lord Kaido, I'm coming! He's guys, come on, let's go, come on, we're gonna form a party, you, number 7, let's go, rock and roll, you know, lock in. And everyone's like, yeah, Master Jack, let's do this. They start running up the steps like, oh, man, we need to install a damn elevator in this place. All right, come on, guys, we gotta do this, come on. And they finally get to the top of the steps, and they burst through. It's like, all right, we're here, guys. Oh, man, I'm out of shape. All right. Jack the Drought is here, you know, so let's rock and roll. Let's do this, okay. So yeah, obviously, I think this had to happen because Jack... Minks, you know, Oda was maybe like, oh yeah, Jack should probably be here because the Minks probably want to just annihilate him for what he did at Zou with his little crew with Sheep's Shed and Gene Rummy and everybody. So yeah, you have Inuarashi there, Neko, they know full well what Jack is capable of, and so they're like, okay, everybody, you guys should probably stand back, you know, you don't want to mess with this guy, and, you know, Inuarashi is just like, that's Jack, one of the calamities, you know, he attacked our homeland, Zou, you know, all looking for that certain samurai, that certain ninja. And then Raizo's also there now. And keep in mind, the entire time, that was how that, you know, that whole moment was so impactful, was Raizo is safe. You know, he was there the whole time, even after nearly their entire civilization got wiped out. They were willing, the Minks were willing to have their entire civilization wiped out, all of them dying in the process, as long as it meant keeping Raizo safe, keeping the promise to the Kozuki clan above all else, you know, keeping that for centuries. So that's why the Minks are so loyal. They're animals. It makes sense. They're based off of animals, right? So there you go. They're loyal, right? But, you know, remember how Raizo was so upset when they found Raizo, they had to tie him inside of the whale tree because Raizo, obviously, he doesn't want to see people out there dying for him. So he's like, let me out there. I'll give myself up. I'll fight them for you. And they're like, no, you got to stay here because that's what the Kozukis would have wanted. But now Raizo is present, right? And Raizo, man, I did that, the best scabbard poll a couple weeks back. Raizo got the lowest, so sorry, Raizo. But here's your chance to redeem yourself, Ninja Man. Let's do this, right? So Raizo's like, yes, I was there the entire time, Jack. I couldn't fight you then, but I will fight you now. I don't think Raizo's actually going to charge in and fight Jack right now, but he's like, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna, you know, we're gonna kill your freaking captain, and then we'll see what's what. Then I'll take a piece of you out of here, you know, whatever. So the other Minks, the ones that are like the Guardians and the Musketeers, like the higher ranking Minks, they're like looking over at Inu and Neko, and they're like, you know what? Guys, don't even bother screwing around with Jack and his group that he showed up with. It's not even worth it, right? So you got BB and Rhodey, the Forest Guardians. They transform into their Sulong. Growl! So we got a bull and a gorilla looking hype. And then we have the three Musketeers. We got Shishalian, Consolot, and Giovanni. Shishalian, of course, being a lion, Consolot being a fox, and Giovanni being a zebra. They all turn into their Sulongs as well. They're like, Master Inu Arashi, Master Nekomamushi. You don't have to worry about these guys. We got it. And so they all go into their Sulongs. I like probably out of the 5 that we get in this chapter. I mean, there's other Minks present. We even see a bulldog Mink hanging out to the side. I don't know if we ever saw that bulldog Mink earlier. We probably did. I want to see that bulldog Mink wreck some people's shit up. You know, that would be cool. You know, he's like woof, roar, Sulong bulldog Mink. Yeah. But probably out of the 5 that we see right here, I mean, Shishalian, keep in mind, he is a lion Mink, same as Peckham's. So his and Peckham's kind of look very similar. His mane is so damn big, it's kind of hard to see. And he's kind of like tilting his mouth back, his head back, so we don't really get to see his full face. Consolot looks pretty deadly because he's like just rows of like razor sharp teeth. And Giovanni's the zebra. He's off in the back and his body's changing. Probably out of all 5 of these, I would probably say Rhodey's is the coolest. He's a bull, so he transforms into a bull. His horns don't unfortunately get super big and like twisted like a drill like I thought they would be. But his face looks straight up demonic. He's just like, bull Mink power, activate! You know, so I probably like Rhodey's the best, and we'll get to see a lot more of the Sulongs. We see more of the Sulongs transform, but they're kind of like in a big spread shot, because there's a lot of Minks present, okay? Not like every single Mink from Zou, not like everybody showed up. There's like, you know, children and like elderly Minks living on Zunisha still, but a good chunk of their fighting force showed up here, and they're all going Sulong. So let me just count really quick in this one panel. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11... I think maybe like 11 or 12, around a dozen or so that I'm just seeing in this one panel, all transforming at once. Now, Kaido does mention earlier in the chapter, he knows what Sulong is. He even mentions it. He's just like, oh yeah, Sulong, you know, because Nekomamushi mentions the moon. He's like, what, Wara, what are you talking about, the moon? Oh, right, yeah, you Minks can transform into that Sulong transformation, whatever bullshit that is, whatever, bring it on. And then when Jack breaks through, he also says, you know, all the gifters are kind of freaking out when the Minks all transform at once. Like all this electro is just, you know, just exploding off of these Minks all transforming at once. Jack is like, you know, don't worry guys, don't worry. The Sulong transformation doesn't last very long. I wish that the Minks would have overheard Jack say that, like Rhodey or BB, like overheard Jack saying, oh yeah, the Sulong transformation doesn't last very long. Just like, oh, it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to last long. Gorilla electric punch, you know, Badoo! And freaking Rhodey comes up and just starts goring, just like electrically charged goring through everybody in the damn battlefield. The gifters, they don't seem that really intimidated. The gifters are kind of all like, well, you think you're the only ones that have the raw primal power of the animals? Yeah, I'm a damn... I don't know what this guy is. He just has 4 arms. I'm a Machamp. I was fused. I ate the Machamp. Smile. Yeah! And then we got one of the numbers, and his name is Nangi. So just like the last guy was named Hacha, number 8, this guy's Nana, number 7, Nangi. Okay, so all of the names, I mean, they don't seem, like I said, they're not very intellectual people, like giants, whatever you want to call them. So their names are probably going to be very, very simple. You know, it's like number 5 is going to probably be like Goyo or something like that. You know, just it has 5 in it. So Hacha, Nangi, 8, and 7. So there you go. And like I said, he looks like a giant, like Oni dude. He doesn't really do much in this chapter, but he is there. Okay. And just as a refresher course for all the numbers that we've seen, you know, we've seen more than this kind of in the background and silhouette, but these are the ones that we see kind of the clearest. This is just from the wiki. But we see the Oni dude here, Nangi. He doesn't really appear in the silhouettes here, so that means that these guys are all still a bunch that we haven't seen yet. So we'll be waiting on that, and we'll be seeing what this Nangi, number of the numbers can do. We'll see where that goes. And so that's pretty much all we got from the roof of Onigashima in this chapter. Just huge explosion happens on top of the skull, just boom, huge shockwave, and then we cut away to back down inside of the Golden Kagura Festival Hall, like the exhibition hall, right? So, you know, I don't know how Oda's gonna do this. Are we gonna do the old, like, cut away from the battle for about 2-3 chapters? So, about, like, 2-3 months at this point, essentially. And then we cut back to later and we see all the Minks and all the and Jack's on the ground bleeding out. All the Minks are also defeated. Like, their forces just kind of, like, collided and just wiped each other out. And then it's just, like, the Scabbards against Kaido, so that basically just evened the playing field. Not sure if that's gonna go, or we're just gonna cut right back to it next chapter. I would hope we cut back to it next chapter, because while there is some interesting stuff going down on the festival floor, we'll get to that here, I kind of want to focus on this fight. You know, that's kind of like the main show here. Kaido is fighting. I want to see this. Although, to be fair, we also did not see the Scabbards go to clash with Kaido here. It seemed like it was just, you know, with freaking Sulong Minks, and then Jack and his forces, and then one of the numbers, and then just a big shockwave. We're assuming that the Scabbards would also have jumped on Kaido and taken advantage of this. We'll see where this goes, right? Or it could be like the fake Karakura Town arc in Bleach, where you have all the captains and lieutenants show up, and then you have the Espada and the Fraxion that work under them and everything, and then the pillar fights go on. And while the fights for the pillars are going on, the captains and Espada, they're all just kind of like chilling out, staring at each other. So, like, the Sulongs are clashing with Jack's forces, and, you know, the Minks and Sulong are clashing with Jack, and all the other Scabbards and Kaido, they're just, like, bet my guys beat your guys. Like, yeah, well, I'll take money on that, war, you know, so we'll see where this goes. So we cut back down to the festival floor. Big Mom is there kind of looking up. King and Queen are still there on the balcony, you know. King and Queen, they seem like, I don't know, I guess they're respecting Kaido's wishes, like, because Kaido seemed like he kind of wanted to do this on his own. Jack kind of just ran off, of course. But yeah, that's a funny scene where you have just King and Queen up on the balcony. Momo is still tied to the scaffold behind them, and King is just like, huh, Jack really went up there, huh? Queen's like, yeah. Sucks you couldn't have gone up there with them. Get out of my hair. I can handle this by myself. Oh, shut up, you perverted little... It's like, hey, wait, what's going on back here? So Shinobu sneaks on. You know, she kind of fails the stealth rule, but she kind of like, while King and Queen are having this little banter back and forth, you know, there's chaos down in the festival hall, chaos upstairs. King and Queen are just like... Yeah, crazy day, huh? Yeah, crazy day. Crazy shit going on. You know, meanwhile, Shinobu's kind of like sneaking behind them and just takes out a pair of bolt cutters and is trying to cut the chains down. And King is just like, hey, whoa, what the hell? Boom! And just picks up Shinobu by her head and just flings her into the side of one of the buildings. Because remember, the hall is so damn huge. There's like buildings inside of the hall, you know, where people were like gathering on balconies and like getting drunk, you know, having a party, right? So King just picks her up and just flings her into one of those buildings. She gets banged up, she's bleeding a bit, but she uses her kunoichi ninja kite skills to kind of like, she hits the building, then as she's falling, I guess she activates her kite and just like, whoa, that was dangerous there for a second. So, King and Queen are just like, whoa, did you see what happened there? That's because you weren't paying attention. He's like, I wasn't paying attention, you should be paying attention. And while they're doing that, Momo just, the chains break all around him, just break, and then Momo begins to just fly away. I have never felt so free. High in the sky is the place for me. Helping friends from up above. You know, Momo, this is... I didn't know he had this power, but I just attribute this to Momo finally awakening his true Kozuki clan bloodline trait. You know, that seems more like a Naruto thing, but, you know, did you see all the things Odin was capable of? If you would have come to me and said Odin could straight up fly... Yeah, I'd buy that 100%. So, Momo has unlocked this power now. He can straight up fly, and he's finally going to be a participant in this fight. He's going to get freed, and he's just going to fly around the exhibition hall, laying down, like, dragon bomb death. You know, he's just like, I am the mighty Momonosuke! I am flying Momotaro, and you can't stop me! But King stops him. You know, so it's a funny scene where Momo, like, the chains break, and Momo's like, wait, whoa, I can fly now! That's cool! Let's get out of here! But King is also capable of flight, so he's just like, where are you going, kid? You gotta still be executed, because, you know, the last order that Kaido issued before Scabbards burst in and everything was just like, oh, I'm gonna execute Momonosuke, right? We had that whole thing where it's like, what's your name, kid? He's like, my name's Kozuki Momonosuke. He's like, alright, if you want it to be, sure is. And then he got, you know, attacked by the Scabbards. So King is like, well, you still have to be executed, kid. You're not getting away from this. So he jumps in the air to grab Momo. At the same time, he gets kicked from an invisible individual. I'm not sure where this is going. It's Sanji! Finally, Sanji bursts onto the scene, and even Nami in the background is just like, Sanji! I thought you were chasing after all of the escorts at the brothel! And, you know, knowing Sanji, he probably was like, oh, I already made sure they were already safe, Nami Swan. Now I will save Momo. And so he's the one that broke the chains, grabbed Momo, and tried to, like, you know, actually, couldn't have Sanji, if he wanted to, couldn't he have just taken the cape of the raid suit and just covered Momo with it? Would that have also made Momo invisible? Because the way that the raid suit works, the stealth black suit, is it's like, they actually make these. This is a piece of technology I think actually exists in our world. It's like an invisibility cloak, right? Where it's like the fabric has like cameras on it and it like detects like what is in front of it and behind it, and it just kind of like fills it in with like, I don't know, magic LCD screens. I'm not a science guy, but I've read articles about this technology. It like exists, right? So isn't that how it works? So in theory, couldn't Sanji just like cover up Momo with his cloak and then keep him in there, and then, you know, he would be rendered invisible as well? Because the way this seemed to work, like Sanji broke Momo out of his shackles and then just picked Momo up and like just tried to either use Skywalk or use the little boosters on his feet to just escape. Either way, King catches up to them. King does not transform into his Pteranodon form though right away. King is actually shown flying with his regular wings. The wings on his back, the black wings that look like the Bricken wings, like Aruja's wings that are bent down. We still don't know anything about like if that means he's a sky race individual or if he's from something else, because you know, Big Mom says, you know, you're one of the few races that don't exist in Totland. Does that mean she was referring to like a Skypian or a Bricken, or was she referring to something else altogether? We don't know, but King is capable of flying with his regular wings, which I don't think anybody questioned, but he is. So Sanji clashes with him in his invisible raid suit, but then he becomes visible and he kind of takes Momo and he kind of like, all right, well, you know, we got a lot further than I thought we would. Takes Momo, throws him over to Shinobu. Hot potato, Shinobu, here! And just throws freaking Momonosuke. Shinobu catches him. Hopefully Shinobu can get Momo to safety. And at the same time, Sanji kind of stares over at Momo and he's like, hey, Momo. Hey, kid. The way you screamed your name like that in the face of death, pretty damn cool, kid. Pretty damn cool. Keep it up. All right, and so then Sanji's getting ready to fight because King goes into his Pteranodon form now, and he's about like just drill peck right into Sanji's body, okay? And the way that this looks, the way that this happens, it doesn't look like Sanji like blocked the attack with his hands. It's like King transforms into a Pteranodon form, his giant beak is like pressing right up against Sanji's chest. Sanji uses his arms to kind of like grab the beak to kind of like force it back, and he's like, whoa, 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 man, this is dangerous. You could drill a hole in somebody. And freaking King is just like, you know, oh, I'll do more than just pop a little hole in you. I'm just gonna eradicate you, right? How about you turn invisible and manage to escape this? And Sanji's like, oh, it's not like an invisible, I'm not like Danny Phantom, dude. I don't become intangible. It's literally just like a visual like thing, and then boom! King just like flies and just slams him into the side of a building, and we don't see what happens with Sanji after that. Off to the side, we have Luffy down on the hall still, and Luffy's kind of like, oh, that looked painful. Oh, Sanji, are you okay? But no, in all seriousness, Luffy looks very concerned. Luffy's like, that looked like it hurt a lot, because giant Pteranodon, full power, drill peck into the side of a building, right? Now, Sanji does have the raid suit, which gives him protection, plus he's got armament hockey, plus he was kind of like pushing the beak back with his arms, so I think Sanji will be okay. He'll still probably have like a pretty heavy bruise. He'll be bleeding a little bit from that attack, maybe crushed a rib or two, but I don't think he's like down. So with the raid suit, and if he used armament at that same point to like block King's attack, because that did look like a really, really devastating move. Like if that was like a normal situation, they would just be gored by his beak right there. There'd be a giant hole in his chest, right? So yeah. Now this also leads to an interesting premise. We all thought King was going to fight against Zoro, right? And he still very well could. I mean, this is just this doesn't have to be like, oh, just because Sanji and King had an interchange right here, that has to mean Sanji has to fight King one-on-one, mano-a-mano, man against giant Pteranodon or anything like that. Actually, I threw out an idea a couple videos back where Zoro and Sanji actually working together should fight against King. That would actually be really cool, because we always have the standard in One Piece, and Oda flips it around every now and then, but it's typically Luffy fights against the main threat, and then the second strongest goes to Zoro, third strongest goes to Sanji. So in this case, it'd be Luffy against Kaido, Zoro against King, and Sanji against Queen. Queen is still on the balcony, by the way. Queen doesn't seem to be going anywhere, so Queen's like, man, I'm by myself now. He's like, well, Sir Queen, what should we do? Are you going to join the battle? Bring me some Oshiruko, and then we'll talk. He's like, all right, sir, whatever. Chaos going on right now, but sure, here you go, have some Oshiruko. Okay. I gotta think about this for a while. So anyway, yeah, okay, so a few things, though, about Sanji's suit. He's no longer wearing his glasses. He took the shades off. He's just, no shades whatsoever. Also, remember when he used his raid suit a couple, well, that was back in Act 2, at the bathhouse and everything, and before that against Page 1, he mentioned that he was going to get it modified. He was going to ask Usopp and Franky to modify it for him. Doesn't seem like that happened, because it looks pretty much the same, aside from taking off the shades. His belt buckle is the same. It still has the 3 on the side of it. Still references to the Germa with the belt buckle. So, I mean, granted, everything they had going on, preparing for the war effort and making the ships and weapons and procuring everything and getting everything together, it made sense that, Franky and Usopp didn't have time to, tinker around with just the aesthetic of the raid suit. So maybe after this arc, after the arc is over and after everything calms down, Sanji will go up to freaking Franky and Usopp with the canister and be like, hey, can you modify this to make it a little bit less, Vin Smoke Germa-y, that would be great. There's too many germs on this. Could you please disinfect it for me and modify it into something else a little bit cooler? And Franky and Usopp, well, that could lead to a few funny moments. That could lead to Franky thinking oh, okay, you want something super? All right, I'll make something super. And then, Sanji ends up getting this crazy, elaborate, so much crap, plaster all over the raid suit. Or it could be Sanji's plan, and it would end up, I don't even know. I don't even know what Sanji's own design would be. Maybe it would just look like his regular suit. He would look very, very snazzy or something. I don't know. But anyway, we now cut down to the scene between Big Mom and Luffy, because Big Mom is charging right at Luffy, and Luffy's kind of like, okay, I want to go help out the scabbards, I want to go help them up on the roof, but if I go up there now, all that's going to happen is Big Mom is going to follow me. I think this is really the moment where it kind of hits everybody that, wait a second here, whoa. We're fighting 2 Yonko in this battle. Holy crap, right? Up until this point, it was kind of just Kaido's the main threat and everything, but no, Big Mom is also here, right? And she is mighty pissed. So she takes out Napoleon and uses Ikoko Sovereignty! She uses, the mighty Spear of Elbaf! She launches a hole, Luffy dodges it, but it blasts a hole right in the side of Muffin Mountain, shoots out, blasts through the mountains, out into the freaking ocean, alright? So she Kamehamehas Dragon Ball Z's this shit, alright? That's the power of Big Mom. All the other samurai that are in the middle of this fight are just kind of like, whoa! Who the hell's this lady? He's like, who's this old lady? And be like, oh yeah, that's Big Mom. She's a pirate from out of town. She's a pirate from overseas. She's about as strong as Kaido. She's in the same league as Kaido. I'm like, oh crap, so we're fighting 2 of them. I don't know, no one told us that when we were signing up for this raid. I'm like, alright, well, whatever. So, and Big Mom it's funny, because Big Mom is just like, you ruin everything I care about, Straw Hat. The wedding, the tea party, this feast. My Tuesday night book club is coming up in a few days, and you better not interrupt that too. So yeah, she's mighty pissed. Also, oh my god, there's this hilarious scene that Luffy has with Yamato. I have to bring this up. Okay, there's a scene where, Luffy's dodging the attacks from Big Mom, or he's gonna deal with Big Mom, and then, he's like, hey, Yamato, I'll deal with Big Mom. You take care of Shinobu and Momonosuke. Make sure they're okay. And Yamato is like, oh, okay, yeah, I mean, is that okay? He's like, what do you mean is that okay? Nah, it should be fine. After all, Momonosuke is basically my son. He's like, what are you talking about? All right, because you're owed... Whatever, just go save him. He's like, oh yeah, I guess I would be saving my son. Kozuki Odin away. So that was a pretty funny scene right there. But yeah, let's not forget here right now, Luffy pretty much finds himself in pitched combat with a damn Yonko, right? I mean, Luffy's gotten a lot stronger since the last time he tangoed with Big Mom, but, this is gonna be pretty rough. I mean, yeah, there's other samurai present and things, but, how much help are they really gonna be able to lend Luffy in this instance? I guess we'll see. So we kind of get to the last scene of the chapter here, which is hilarious. It's a great way. It's not as epic. Well, Okay, yeah, I was gonna say it's not as impactful or not as dramatic as last time with Nekomamushi being like the silhouette and everything, like yarn yow, but it's pretty damn epic, okay? So, Nami, Big Mom tries to summon Zeus to strike Luffy, because Luffy's trying to kind of get out of here, kind of like maybe lure Big Mom away. So, Big Mom's like, so you've decided to leave, Straw Hat? Well, I shall call down the mighty thunderbolts of Zeus! The mighty thunderbolts of Zeus! Zeus, where are you at? You know, and so she looks down, and Nami at some point has, like, her stealth roll was a natural 20. She snuck up on Big Mom, grabbed Zeus away, and just started hightailing it out of there. Like, how do you even do that? How do you sneak up on Big Mom to, like, yoink, and then just run away? And so Zeus is all tiny inside of, you know, Nami's arms and everything, and Zeus is just like, oh, Nami, you don't understand. Big Mom's gonna be mean. He's like, we're getting out of here, right? You know, it's kind of this weird moment where Nami just kind of looks at Zeus and just like, okay, listen here, Buster. You gotta decide whose side are you on. Are you my friend or are you Big Mom's? And Zeus is trying to explain to Nami, like, Nami, you don't understand. She literally has, my soul is tied to her essence. I cannot refuse an order from her. Do you not understand this? And so Big Mom summons Zeus back, and he literally just gets like, whoa, and just gets sucked right out of Nami's arms, and then right back into Big Mom's, and then she's like, the thunderbolts of Zeus! And Zeus is like, I'm sorry, Nami, but you gotta die now! And they're like, oh crap, Zeus, you know what? We're over, we're not friends anymore! I'm like, what is this, Oda? What is this? So, what was the relationship between Zeus and Nami? Was there more to this than I originally read into? Because I am, okay, I initially read into this like it was a bit of like a dominatrix thing. Oh, you're gonna serve me from now on. You know, that seemed like, you know, where that was going. But now it's kind of like, you know, they were like in a committed relationship with one another. It's just like, you gotta decide once and for all, is it gonna be her or is it gonna be me? You know, Zeus is like, I'm sorry, I'm connected to her soul. That's what they all say, Zeus. I just don't know how this relationship is gonna go. Oh my god. So, so Zeus gets absorbed back into Big Mom. She's using the lightning bolts. Nami is apparently calling off the relationship. It's over. It's over, guys. Was there anybody out there shipping Zeus and Nami? There probably was. It's the internet, but I'm just whatever. Anyway, last scene of the chapter, though. It ends with Franky and Brook. I'm just going to describe what happens. Franky rides in on the FRU-4, just plants his back tire right into Big Mom's face, just drives right over her. As Brook is riding on the figurehead of the Rhino, takes out Soul Solid, splits Zeus right in half, just like he did at Totland with his Soul Sword, slices him in half, and then Franky just, you know, lands and just like, someone have a runny nose around here? And then Nami is just like, Aniki! Or like, big bro Franky! And then that's the end of the chapter. All, by the way, Brook is singing a new song. You know, the song's lyrics are just like, you have a clock, I threw it away, because it's my soul, or something like that. You know, the songs are always going to sound better in the anime than written in the manga, of course. But, so, that's the end of the chapter, where Franky just literally drives over Big Mom's face, and it's Franky Freedom Rider. That's the name of the attack, which he probably just came up with right then and there, I guess. You know what? Screw that. No. Because we've been wondering where Franky and Brook have been at the entire time. No, this was planned. This was planned. Franky and Brook, I imagine they arrived at the hall, or maybe they were outside the hall. They parked the bike. They parked their hog outside. I guess their rhino. It wouldn't be a hog. They parked their rhino outside of the hall, and they were like looking in a window, and they saw all this chaos going down, and they were like, all right, Brook, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna burst in, and we're gonna fight, and, you know, we're gonna make our way to Momonosuke. But then Brook was like, I have an idea, Franky. What if Oh, I like that. That's a super idea. Yeah. So they planned out this whole thing. Like, Brooke wrote a song on the spot. Like, no, Franky, it's gonna be so damn cool. You burst in riding the motorcycle, your rhino, your hog, and then I'll be riding on top of it, singing a song while slicing Zeus in half, and you just drive that motorcycle right over Big Mom's face. And Franky's like, oh my god, that would be the single coolest, most super thing I have ever done this week or any week previous. Let's do it, Brooke. So they were waiting for the right opportunity to come in. They arrived with such dramatic timing right before Nami was about to get shocked by Zeus. Franky just drives on in. Oh my god. Now, the attack isn't going to probably do that much other than really piss off Big Mom. But she's probably going to get back up and a big tire tread is just going to be on her face and her nose is going to just who did that? And then freaking Franky's just like, I did. And then he activates the FRU-4, which I want to think that because the Brachiotank 5 could still partially transform into the Franky Shogun with the legs running around, I think that the FRU-4, which is usually just the arms for the Franky Shogun, they'll be able to separate and combine with Franky, just the arms. So Franky kind of turns into a Machamp. Franky kind of has like 2 sets of giant arms, and he could just be like, boom, and then the other arms are just like, bam, and it's like, let's rock, let's wrestle, Big Mom, yeah, America, America punch, and then you have Franky with these giant robot arms just clashing with Big Mom while Brooke is in the background slicing people down. Oh my god, it's glorious. And the scene with Nami at the end where Nami's bawling her eyes out like, big bro Franky, Aniki, you're here. Oh my god. So yeah, maybe not as dramatic as the last chapter ending, but a hell of a lot more epic. And Franky and Brooke finally burst into the fray. I'm glad. You know what? If you want to tell me the last 10, 20 chapters, however long they've been separated, it hasn't been that long, it hasn't been 20 chapters, but however long they've been separated, they were literally just outside the hall planning this. Très magnifique. I don't care. Beautiful. Absolutely marvelous. Franky, Brooke, you guys are showmen. You know how to do this. You know how to break in, right? So, yeah. Now, does this mean that does Zeus and Nami, though? I mean, Nami kind of cut it off. She kind of cut the string right there. So, oh, man, I don't know if they're ever going to get back together even after this mess is over with. It's going to be rough. They might have to go to couples counseling. And, that's just, it's communication. That's the thing that really matters here, I don't freaking know. But yeah, now Franky and Brooke, Nami is still there. You got Carrot still there. Carrot did not really do much in this chapter. She didn't really say, like, I have to go help my brethren or anything like that. She's still in the hallway. We still see her. So she might go Sulong. She could see the moon from the hole in the ceiling. She could go Sulong and she could help fight against Big Mom here. So I think it's going to be like Luffy, Franky, Brooke, and Nami and Carrot maybe, and Sanji's dealing with King right now, so he can't really do that. Zoro is kind of in other parts. Maybe Zoro could find his way back to the hall and he could help out. But they're going to kind of they're going to be on Big Mom detail right now, at the same time that the Scabbards are on Kaido detail right now. So we're going to see where this goes from here, but we got to wait 2 weeks until then. That sucks, but yeah, hope you enjoyed the chapter. It was like freaking 1,800 horsepowers of awesome. I don't know cars. But, yeah, that's what it was. It was 18 million horsepowers. There you go. Some absurd number. All right. Have a great one, everybody. This will be Teching signing out.